crispy.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Figures in Action. And here we have pictured a Mesco Gomez body with a unmasked Daredevil head. Thought it looked kind of cool. I want to do something with this, some picture with this action figure. Anyway, but what we're here for is this dio, which has been completed. So let me turn this light around. I was contacted a little while ago, maybe a month ago, because somebody was interested in doing a diorama. If I remember correctly, I don't recall if they knew exactly what they wanted, or maybe they instantly wanted a warehouse. I don't recall. So anyway, again, warehouses and alleyways and things of that nature. I just don't get tired of them, man. I really don't. I enjoy always trying to improve, always trying to do something new. Let me take this figure out the way. So it's never kind of sometimes people will hit me up and be like, man, you must be tired of doing alleyways, but I like an alleyway. And nah, man, believe me, I don't get tired. As an artist, it's like I was a graffiti artist for 20 plus years, and I wrote the same 4 letters for 20 plus years. I didn't get tired of them. It just gave me an opportunity to create something new as often as possible, trying to create a style of that first letter and then kind of copying that style into the other 3 letters. So I kind of look at it like that, like it's this is I guess what I'm known for, so I'm okay with that. That's cool. I don't mind that at all. So he wanted a warehouse, so I said, let me try something a little bit different. Normally we do cement, cement cinder blocks that are kind of colored that grayish color, and then sometimes we'll do bricks and what have you. But inside warehouses are made up of many different materials, and so I just went with I think this is the second time where I kind of color the bricks. And the first time I did it was a very long time ago, and I remember the first time I did it, I wasn't using the spackling to kind of create the grout. That was so hard. I think I painted that dial like 77 times. It was crazy just to kind of cover those gaps. So it's funny how all these years later it became such a much easier process. All right, so real quick, the skinny on this. This is 16 inches across. 16 inches across. It is 11 inches deep, 12 inches tall. Created on installation foam board. This material I've used before. This is kind of that great type material. I've done dojos. I used that and sewing mesh for the vent there. Same window style over here. On the back I went with or I did vellum, but for the first time I tried, instead of dirtying up that window from the front and in between those the little gaps that are the windows, I actually went in from behind and just kind of gave it a wet brush with a little bit of brown on it, and it kind of gave it the look that I was going for, which is just kind of a dirty look, but not nothing clumpy or nothing too concentrated on any one block or so forth. So I like that look. One of the first things I was asked was, what the hell is this? So in a lot of different warehouses, older warehouses, to support the brick, because again, brick can be porous, and to support it, people would kind of put these metal rods through the wall and then kind of clamp them with this metal piece. And I've seen them mostly like this. I haven't seen them kind of laid out in a row, but instead of kind of doing these individually, I kind of wanted to make that row, and I'm happy that I went that route. As anything, use your imagination. I mean, it's not inconceivable that something like this can exist, but again, I have seen these guys. So went with that bar up there, and it also gave me the opportunity to kind of color match that door and give it a little bit of cohesiveness, I guess. Went with that blue, the lighter blue, and then the darker blue stripe. Definitely like the way that came out. Don't use these as often as I should, but use a couple of these, kind of the where you would plug in anything, and then this is just a switch to turn the lights on and off in the warehouse. Went some signage I've used before. pallet storage area. This time what I did is I actually created kind of a pallet storage area. So that was kind of cool, and I was able to match that color up. And this is just done by basically what I did is I painted this whole piece in yellow. So I just kind of put a blue painter's tape and I painted it in yellow, and then I let that dry. I believe I Mod Podged it, if I remember correctly. If I didn't, then I probably I have this other black tape that's kind of a painter's tape, and the stickiness is definitely less sticky than the painter's tape, which allows me to kind of peel it off and not ruin too much of the paint. In this particular instance, when I did peel it off, it took a little bit of gray off, and instead of, I was just gonna kind of go back with the gray, but I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of just dirty up a little bit. So I just went with that style. Also kind of started using a different technique to dirty up the walls, where I'm just using kind of a very wet, it's kind of same deal that I used with the other side of that vellum paper. Used it on the corners there and just kind of gave it that wet look. Again, you know, warehouses can get dirty via lots of different things. It could just be equipment that's in there. It could just be a bunch of different things. And so wanted to kind of reflect that. Went with kind of that push bar for the door. Also attached like a little bottom border there. I forgot what those are called. I'm pretty sure the homie SK will man, my words are all over the place today, will correct me on that. Interestingly enough, I just got a comment from another video where somebody called me old and pathetic and that I couldn't speak. So there's that. I always love that. I will no longer get into conversations with people who have stuff like that to say, because they just want a response and they won't say it to my face. So we're all good. Went with the roll down grate, which is something he definitely wanted to have, and was able to do that. But a little bit of rust, not too much, as this is kind of an indoor warehouse, but these open and close and they get wet and so forth. So was cool with that. In here, I don't know if you guys can tell, there is a wooden border. So there is a wooden border, and what it allows me to do, it allows me to kind of just lay the I don't know if you can see here, I lay the kind of the plastic part that becomes the window frame, as well as the vellum paper. So you kind of lay that plastic piece there, then you lay the vellum paper, and then you kind of glue it together. And what that little border does, it allows me to have something so it won't pop out. It's almost like a setting. So it definitely, that's something I've done for a while, and it allows me to you know, just to kind of set that window right into place and not have to worry about doing too much with it and trying to, you know, make sure it's steady and stable and all that. So this has been great in terms of allowing me to secure a window in place and yet make it look good and kind of give it that, you know, where it has different levels. And so and that was just I think it was bass wood. Those little skinny sticks were bass wood. This here is just the project foam board. This is stuff that I stick or I take the paper off of. Same deal with here. These are actually paper, what are they called? Let me see if I have the I don't think I have the but they're fasteners. They're like paper fasteners, and so I have found like a pack of them at AC Moore, and they were colored. They were colored. So I think it was green, yellow, blue, and red. So these are the red. The reason I went with that route is because if this gets scraped off, I did paint it this color here. I painted it, but if it does get scraped off, you're just gonna kind of get a chrome type of red. So that's kind of cool, because this tends to happen. I mean, these pieces, they're exposed. This piece sticks out the most out of this entire wall. So if, for example, he lays this down for a second, it's very possible he could scrape some of the paint off of it, but it won't look bad just because it still has that red behind it. So again, a lot of times when you diamond makers that are kind of getting into it, you have to kind of think a little forward. You have to think past the project that's in front of you in terms of how good it looks, and think about the longevity of that project. People are paying hundreds of dollars for these dioramas, so I want to make sure that I think of those situations, and you know, so it'll last for a while, and they won't feel like if they scrape it, they're gonna be like, oh man, this sucks. Like if that would have been I think regular fasteners are like gold, it would look off if that gets scraped. So I just wanted to do that. Used acrylic paints here, kind of use the same the same paint that I used here, a little bit thicker here, less watered down, but just wanted to leave kind of stains of where vehicles kind of drive in, you know, if they come in to drop something off or what have you. So those are kind of the stains that would leave. And let's see what else we have to discuss. That's pretty much it. Use some paint to kind of make it look like it was rusting a little bit. Same deal there. Some signage, and that's pretty much it. That's the gist of it, I guess. Was very happy with the way this came out, and very happy with the response of the client, who was extremely excited about it. He's very happy, which is really cool. And he actually wants me to work on another project right away, so that's kind of cool as well. Y'all, so check out the pictures at the end, and have an awesome day, and I'm out of here. Peace.